to target stubborn belly fat. Oh, clickbait again. I love it. I love it. Get your attention tonight. Okay, firstly, off the bat, I am going to tell you that if someone is trying to sell you a program that targets belly fat, they are trying to make money off you, okay? What I'm going to talk about in this video is the only thing you need to know about body fat, and that is a calorie deficit. Yes, she's talking about it again. Yes, I know it's annoying, but undoubtedly it's still the most misunderstood concept when it comes to fat loss. So I have a client and she has been with me a couple of months, and we were chatting the other day about the fat stores that are the most stubborn places to lose, okay? And before we get into anything, I'm going to give you the best analogy when it comes to this, and this helped me explain fat loss and helps me understand fat loss the best way possible, because I'm a very visual person. So I want you to think about a swimming pool. So here is our swimming pool, and as you know, in a swimming pool you have a shallow end and you have a deep end, okay? But the water is the same on the top. You don't see the water going like this, not in a swimming pool, unless there's people jumping in and out. Now, think of the swimming pool floor as your body fat stores, okay? And the water coming down is your calorie deficit. Yes, she's going on about it again. If you don't know what a calorie deficit is, give me a message or just look at one of my many videos where I'm talking about what a calorie deficit is. So, if you are in a calorie deficit and you are ticking all the boxes, you're doing all the things you need to do, and you know you're in a calorie deficit, the water of the swimming pool starts to go down. Now, the rate at which this is going to go is different for everyone, depending on how much of a calorie deficit you are creating. If you're working with a coach who wants this to be a sustainable thing, chances are they're going to put you in a calorie deficit of about 20 to 25%, because that is very manageable. If someone is putting you on 1200 calories for the general population, unless you're very small, 1200 calories is a very big deficit, and you're probably going to struggle to stick to it. So if a person puts you in a calorie deficit of about 20 to 30%, that's a very manageable calorie deficit without feeling the effects of feeling extremely hungry and tired all the time, okay? And it's sustainable as well. Now, it usually means that the rate at which this pool is dropping is a little bit slower. If I was to put someone in a huge calorie deficit, it's going to come down a lot quicker, but you're probably going to feel like shit. You're not going to want to train. You're going to be hungry all the time. You're going to be grumpy all the time. And chances are you're going to have absolutely no fun. So is that sustainable? No. So we put you in a small deficit of 20 to 30%, and the water in the pool comes down nice and slowly. Now, the first places you're going to notice the fat loss are going to be the shallow end. Now, the shallow end is different for everyone. Usually people start to notice it in their face. Maybe they notice it in their legs, or maybe they notice it on their stomachs, or maybe they notice it on their backs, and everyone is different. You have to look and think of the different genetic makeup of every single person on this planet. Now, here's the tricky part. Most women struggle with this area, okay? And this is usually where their last fat stores are. Now, when I talk about last fat stores, I'm saying this is the deep end of the pool. Shallow end of the pool is where people notice fat loss first. For some people, they might notice it here. For some people, they might notice their arms. They might notice their back. They might notice definition coming into different places, and they're getting really pissed off because they're not noticing it in their stomach or their hips, okay? Women are predisposed to store more body fat in this general region because ultimately we are put on this earth to reproduce, whether you want kids or not. That is the reality of it, okay? So a lot of women tend to store more fat around here, which is important for reproducing. So if we're thinking about that swimming pool, the deep end here is usually the stubborn belly fat or the stubborn fat around the hips and stuff like that. And it's usually the place that really pisses people off because they feel like they never ever get to lose it. So here's the thing though. You keep with your calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time, and all of a sudden you're noticing all the places that you notice it first, and that's the shallow end of the pill. You keep in your deficit and you start noticing it in other places. Then you start noticing it all over. You start noticing it in different places. Everything starts coming down. And I'm talking about a prolonged period of time, not 2 weeks here. If you saw the post I put up the other day, that before and after me, that was 6 months, right? 6 months of consistency, putting myself in a slight deficit and actually living a life as well, because I didn't have anything coming up. I was just doing a general slow calorie deficit cut, okay? So eventually then, you keep going with your deficit, you keep going with your deficit. Now to get to these stores here, right, which is different for everyone, this is where it starts getting a little bit more difficult. And I'm not saying impossible, I'm just saying a little bit more difficult. This is usually where you just hit that wall and you're getting fed up because you're not noticing it in that last place. And usually for women, this might be their stomach, okay? And for everyone, it might be their stomach, but like women are more predisposed to hold a bit more body fat around here. And me, I'm a weirdo, right? I do a cut, I will notice it in my stomach and I'll notice it here. My back stores my fat. So if I'm doing a cut, my shallow end is actually my stomach, weirdly enough. I will notice it there first. Like, this is to do with genetics and stuff like that, okay? But actually I store a lot of fat in my back for some unbeknownst reason, no idea why. So for me to notice the difference in my back, I need that calorie deficit to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. It's usually the last place I will notice definition starting to come in. So now you understand fat loss, and you understand that it is the importance of actually having fucking patience with these things, because it doesn't happen overnight. You do not gain and lose weight overnight. And people, I got asked a question there a while ago, how long is it going to be till I notice changes? I'm like, right, well, that's like asking how long is a piece of string, okay? How much effort are you going to put into this? What is your activity level going to be like? How many times a week are you going to be training? Like, this is all depending on the person and their lifestyle, and that is going to determine how much of a calorie deficit they're in every day, every week, every month, and so on and so forth. You get out of it what you put into it. And yes, people can make incredible changes in a couple of weeks, but it really comes down to, can we do this in a sustainable way that we can actually keep going with the pill and keep going? And I have a client who's been with me since last November, and I don't know how to edit this properly, but I'm going to go with this here and hope that I can edit this in, because she messaged me and she has 2 kids and this is her area that she was always self-conscious about. She dropped 2 dress sizes and she looks incredible. She's strength training every week. She loves it. She's gone, like, she's like a whole new person in life in general. Everything is going amazing for her. And she sent me a message the other day and she's like, is this definition starting to come in here? And I was like, yes, right, here we go. You are now tapping in to that shallow end of the pill, to them last fat stores. But she is the definition of what I'm talking about when I'm saying it is consistency. Now, she has still lived her life between now and then. She's been on holidays, she's been on loads of nights out, she has loads of stuff going on, she's a very social job. So she very much is just controlling the controllables every week. She also has 2 kids, she's working a very busy job, she's got lots going on. But she has done this. But the reason why she has gotten to this point is not by doing quick 6-week shreds, right? It's by ticking the boxes every day, every week in order to get her there. And because of that, she has now got to the point where she's tipping in to that shallow end of the pill. That's the hardest fat stores to shift. Most people give up around halfway down the pill. They give up because they're like, oh, it's getting harder now. Because sometimes, especially with a lot more body weight to lose, it comes off you a little bit quicker and you notice it a bit quicker. And then maybe you might feel like you're stalling a little while, okay? And people are like, they start panicking, they're like, it's not working anymore. And without getting too technical about things, when you do drop quite a bit of body fat, your energy requirements change. So people are like, oh, your metabolism slows down. No, it doesn't, okay? That's bullshit. Get that out of the way. It doesn't slow down. It also doesn't slow down as you age, right? What happens is a thing called metabolic adaptation, which basically means if you are a smaller person, your body requires less energy to carry out the same activities that it used to. If I have a 50 kilo person here and a 100 kilo person here, and they both walk 100 meters, the person who weighs 100 kilos is going to burn a lot more calories because they are carrying around 100 kilos. And that is metabolic adaptation. It's not a slower metabolism. So if I'm a bit heavier, it takes me more energy to do the same activities as if I was a bit lighter, basically, okay? So no, your metabolism isn't fucked, and no, when you hit this plateau, things don't just go awry and you can't get past it. Yes, it might become a little bit harder because you need to create more of a calorie deficit to get into them lower body, like the lower end of the pool here, the stubborn fat stores that are usually our last protocol to lose. It's not impossible. It just means you need to adapt to your new body and your new energy requirements. Maybe that means you need to increase your activity level a little bit. Maybe you do need to bring the calories down a little bit. And I'm not for people slashing calories straight off the bat if they don't notice the difference week on week. I have a big post about this, but if for 3 weeks you're hitting your step count, you're doing all your training, and you know you're actually tracking calories, and you know you've eaten them calories, and you're not noticing any changes for 3 weeks, and consistently tracking all these metrics, then drop calories. So what I'm trying to get at here is I have been preaching all week about the importance of consistency over time, especially when it comes to body recomposition, okay? And that incredible woman there is proof of it. You will get there, but you're not going to get there in a couple of weeks, okay? Especially if you want to do a completely body recomp. Like, you see people on Instagram, on Facebook, and all these things, and they're like, oh, this was me back then, but this is me now. You're talking years of strength training and like focusing on like their diet and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, and you have to be patient. If someone asks me what do I think the #1 barrier is to weight loss, it's actually fucking patience. No one has it. Everyone just wants it to happen like this. I'm like, you were the product of all of your fucking decisions up until now, right? Your body is a representation of that. So if you didn't get from there to where you are now overnight, why do you expect to get from here to the next point in such a quick amount of time? So it's important to realize that it is our consistency over time, and it does work. It works. Like, there's no denying the science of a calorie deficit. It works. But what happens is, this is where mindset comes in. When you hit that point when it becomes a little bit harder and you have to push through, that's when the real hard work starts. And if you can get yourself a coach or someone who's going to guide you, that you actually start to fall in love with the process. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read my last Instagram post. Fall in love with the process. It becomes a hell of a lot easier, because then it becomes a lifestyle change and not a diet and exercise program. On that note, if you ever have any questions, my DMs are open. Found this helpful, give it a share. Have a lovely day.